Hey there, this is Dana Arcuri, author, speaker, and wellness advocate. Today's topic is Flexeril fog. So many people have been prescribed Flexeril for their injuries, accidents, or muscle spasms. There's other names that Flexeril is known by, and that is Cyclobenzaprine. Also, Flexeril is known by other names such as Amrix and Fexmid. So we have to understand that this is a muscle relaxant. Many people with back injuries, autoimmune conditions are being prescribed Flexeril, and it's really common. So, I go way back 30 plus years when I was first prescribed Flexeril, and it was because I had this back injury. And so I had been in some automobile accidents. I had also had some injuries from slipping down the steps when my high heels got stuck on the carpet and I flew down the steps, injured my back and spine. No day at the beach, but in the ER, the doctor hands me a script. It says Flexeril. So back in those days, I didn't think twice. I just went ahead and had it filled and started taking the medicine. And then through the years, whenever I'd have a back flare-up, because hey, once you injure your back, you're probably going to continually, for the rest of your life, deal with inflammation and your back flaring up every now and then. There are times there is no rhyme or reason why you suddenly have this back pain and it just kind of happens out of nowhere. There are times we can't understand. We just suddenly find ourselves with our back out of whack and we are in pain, and it could be excruciating, throbbing pain. So if you have ever dealt with this, I know that you understand that kind of pain. People who haven't had back pain, just be thankful, because it is very serious. It could literally just stop you in your tracks and you're not able to function. Okay, so the Flexeril is basically a drug that can block nerve impulses, which is pain sensations that are sent to your brain. It's prescribed, once again, for people who have injuries, accidents, any kind of physical pain, muscle spasms, and so forth. And the one thing you need to know about Flexeril is that it's habit forming and it can lead to addiction. Interesting enough, I didn't know about the addiction. I didn't even know that it was habit forming, and I was never ever told this. My doctor never ever told me that. I don't recall ever hearing about it or having my pharmacist tell me this information. I'm thankful today that I no longer take that drug, but I wanted to share a little bit of my story about when I did take it and what happened. And so the reason I gave this YouTube video the title Flexeril Fog is because that sums up the terrible brain fog that I encountered whenever I took this medication. So I had a list of symptoms that would occur excuse me, but it was always a brain fog, this unbelievable fatigue, can't think straight, you just can't function. And so here's a list of the symptoms that I had whenever I took that prescription. I had impaired thinking, I was lethargic, I was fatigued, I had dizziness, I had insomnia. At first, I have to say, I was able to sleep, and then it had this other effect on me in which then I had insomnia, and I could never, ever take that medication in the evening because I couldn't sleep. It gave me severe constipation, worse depression, a horrible dry mouth and throat. It gave me problems urinating, in which I was running to the toilet constantly, frequent urination, or times you just can't even urinate. and I had the inability to function or even work on a day-to-day basis. So it really was troubling, because when I would have a back flare-up, if I would take that medicine and say the next day I was scheduled to go to work, I had a really hard time going to work. I had a difficult time even just getting out of bed, because the brain fog was so intense, and this whole impairment to my central nervous system really impacted my life and my ability to just be able to function and go to work and live a life and be productive. So it was very, very negative, and that's why I couldn't take this medication day by day, is because it was so debilitating. Next, we have to understand that every person is different. So when I am given Flexeril, or you are given this prescription, we will respond differently, because we have our own unique body, we have our own medical conditions, our own health histories, and so no two people respond exactly alike. There will be some people who may have, no big deal, no major problems on this drug, and then there are other people who will have just horrific, nasty experiences and horrible side effects from this medication. So understand that everyone is different, and just because you didn't have a problem, don't think that everybody's okay and that this is just no big deal. It's a big deal for some people. I've watched a lot of videos. It's really scary what some people went through, and there's been a lot of videos on YouTube about the addictions to this medication. Let's talk about potential side effects of Flexeril. Impaired thinking, swelling of the face, lips, and mouth. That is an allergic reaction. You better get yourself to the ER immediately. It is an emergency. You may have a dry mouth and throat. You may have problems urinating or have frequent urgencies to urinate. You may have worse depression and anxiety. You just may not feel like yourself. You may have worse concentration. Let's just say you can't think, you can't focus, you don't have a good memory, you forget. You may have abnormal thinking, unhealthy thinking, like psychosis kind of thinking. You may have agitation. You may have hallucinations. Not good, people. You may have fast pounding or uneven heartbeats. It's called tachycardia. You may have chest pain, a heavy feeling in your chest. You may have the pain spreading to your arms, your shoulder, nausea, sweating, and a general ill feeling. Now, if this happens to you, this is like a big, big red flag. Get yourself to the ER. It sounds like it's impacting your heart. You don't want to have a heart attack, people. Go to the emergency room. Next, if you have a sudden headache, confusion, problems with your vision, problems with your speech, problems with your balance, it's a side effect. No fun. Onward, you may have lightheadedness, fainting. You just might pass out unexpectedly. You may have confusion, weakness, lack of coordination. You may have nausea, stomach pain, fever, loss of appetite, dark urine, clay-colored stools, jaundice, which is yellowing of your skin and eyes. You may have seizures, which are convulsions. Get yourself to the ER, that's an emergency. Unusual thoughts or behaviors, which I already talked about, in which case I personally think that's a red flag that you need to discontinue the medication and slowly taper. No good. You may have easy bruising. You may have bleeding. You may have unusual weakness in your muscles. You may have the, GI issues, the gas, constipation, the diarrhea, IBS, just weird things kind of happening. In the whole experience that I've had, and I did use Flexeril for many years, of course, prior to knowing all the side effects. It was a situation, like I said, I didn't use it every day. I only used it as needed. I only used it really in emergencies. I'm talking you were in so much pain, your back was out of whack, you were totally out of alignment. Typically, I'd end up at the chiropractor's office, and I was just like desperate to function because I had to go to work and I have a family and I'm a mother, and hey, who wants to be in pain? So yeah, there was muscle spasms where I couldn't even sit on the toilet. I mean, I'm talking I couldn't move, I couldn't budge. So yeah, there were times I did take the medicine, but it reached a point after I had the horrible, terrible experience with Cymbalta and Ativan back in 2010 and 11, when I ditched drugs altogether and I said adios to all of them, including Flexeril. So I threw it in the garbage, said no more, and I started coming up with a plan on natural anti-inflammatory. So understand that there are holistic options for you today. You don't have to take drugs. You don't have to suffer silently with these horrible side effects. You know, there are so many natural ways that you can increase your wellness and decrease the muscle spasms, the aches and the pains and the inflammation. One way is turmeric, which is a wonderful herb. Ginger's another herb. Frankincense essential oil. Frankincense is also known as boswellia, so you could take that in a supplement form. You could actually rub the frankincense all over your achy back and body. You could also use CBD oil made from hemp. I use the one that has 0.03% THC. No, you're not getting high, people, but you are getting healthy. It's definitely helping me with my herniated discs, my back problems, my inflammation, my fibromyalgia, my migraines, insomnia, with depression, anxiety. It's just helping in countless ways. I mean, it's wonderful that CBD is a natural anti-inflammatory. It's a natural anti-spasmodic, which means it really reduces the muscle spasms. It's really helpful because it's anti-nausea, it's anti-seizure, anti-tumor, antiviral, antibacterial, and emotionally, for emotional wellness, it is an antidepressant and a natural anti-anxiety option. So for me, I'm using all these remedies. You know, I use the ginger tea, ginger herb, ginger essential oil. I use the frankincense essential oil. I use the CBD oil. It's working wonders and I love it. And there's just so many natural things. I cook with the turmeric spice. It's awesome. It tastes great. And I also use the supplement, extra strength turmeric. So there are so many ways, you know, open your eyes to all your options and the positive, wonderful benefits you could get from holistic plant-based health. And if you'd like to learn more, you could check out my website, DanaArcuri.com. If you're interested in sharing your own experiences with this drug, feel free to do so. I'd love to hear, did you get addicted? Did you have side effects? Was there any positives? How are you doing today? Are you using any natural options for your injuries or back pain or any kind of inflammation? So feel free to share, like, subscribe, and have an awesome day. Bye-bye.